freestyle. I know there's a lot of us that are trying to celebrate the holidays right now, but some of us might not be so fortunate as to celebrate it the way we'd like to. Some of us would like to spend time with our family, our friends, our loved ones, but somehow, some way, maybe we are not afforded that opportunity due to the fact that some of us have to work. Some of us are in careers where there is no stop. Some of us may work careers that don't have normal days off. Some of us might not be fortunate enough to be around our families, our friends, our loved ones. Some of us may be in the hospital, or some of us may just be going through the own shit that we've been going through. Nonetheless, just like the title of this episode, you must remember that you are never allowed to fade away. Never fade away. You owe it to yourself to constantly, continuously, endlessly remind yourself of that. There's a lot of things out there, especially being a man, there's a lot of things out there that always remind you that there's some type of avarice, or there's some type of con- just competition that you are always in. And whenever you think that you're on top of things and you've got control of stuff, there's always something to challenge you constantly. That's a lot of pressure for a man to deal with. There's not a lot of things that we can turn to as far as just getting help in general. If the average of the everyday person fails, there's some type of thing out there. There's homes for women, there's clinics for women, there's so many other things that women can go to. But whenever it comes to a man, there's not as many options, there's not as many routes that you can take. I haven't looked it up lately, but last time I checked, there was only one, maybe two homeless shelters that specifically are geared towards men. It's not a good thing, and it's real easy to fall into the mindset of, that's it, I can't take it anymore, that's it, there's nothing left for me to give, that's it, it's time to move forward with the ultimate decision. And then you look up and people wonder why that the suicide rate for men has increased, why a man chooses the option to zero himself out versus try and seek help or whatever. And it's real easy to sit back on the sidelines and say, well, I don't know why he didn't decide to make a decision to get help, or I don't know why he didn't decide to do the right thing and talk to somebody or whatever. It's real easy for somebody to armchair quarterback. There's a lot of people that are good at that, but there's a lot of people that aren't living your life. And today, there's only one person that's living your life, and that's you. You owe it to yourself to get the help necessary. If you're going to be a statistic on this whole scale of suicide, make sure you're on the positive side of it, not the negative side, because the negative has already got increasing numbers to the point where it's just shrugged off. It's like, oh, well, be okay. There's more men out there. But when you look at the scale of things, there's actually less men out there. There's still an overabundance of women. Not saying it's a bad thing, but there's still, on the scale of things, women still outnumber men. That's what I'm getting at. So it's real easy for a society that's geared towards women to completely forget men or overlook the importance of a man's mental state. Because when a man's emotional state overtakes his mental state, that's not a good thing. You've got an overly emotional man who is not seeking the help necessary to get himself back on track. So when you got a man that's acting out and thinking only with emotion, it's going to lead to them making that decision to zero themselves out. That is not something that should be the first option. If anything, there needs to be an outlet for a man to just get his grievances out, or connect and find people that are of like-mindedness or like conflicts to bounce ideas off of in order to come to a conclusion as far as, will this change my life, or will that change my life? Should I avoid this? Should I choose this direction? And so on and so forth. But in today's society, that's also kind of hard to do because we get stuck just focusing on maintaining status quo, i.e., going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home. And yeah, you do have some men that go out and they'll go try and find some way to, I don't know, de-stress or decrease the amount of, pressure they have to deal with on a consistent basis. And that's either by hanging out, going to a club, getting drunk, whatever. And you got some dudes, they just hold around and just end up being fuckboys. And in all honesty, it's funny because I actually had somebody say, "Yeah, we should take him out with us one day." And I've never been that type of dude, but nonetheless, it's like if you get caught up in the mentality of trying to be a fuckboy, then that's all you got. You know, you don't really have much to live for or look forward to. You're not really getting too many experiences to expand upon your life and actually figure out who you are. If you're just obsessed with going out and picking up every single woman that you see, I mean, what do you have to offer the future version of yourself other than, being able to have sex? Now, don't get me wrong, sex is great, but if that's all you're living for, are you really living? If you're just going out there hooked on the next fix, just like a drug, if you're hooked on the next fix and that's all you live for, you gotta find something else to live for, man. Because I know for me, and this is me personally, I'm anecdotal, but nonetheless, for me, it was never about chasing down women and just trying to hit a tally and see who can get the most women at the end of the day or whatever. For me, I was always the dude that's like, what is life? What does it have to offer? What's out there to explore? Things that actually give me memories and give me things to reflect upon and apply to my life and think about whenever I'm in situations to where there would be a chance that the thought of me trying to zero myself out would make itself present. I made a pact a long time ago with myself that I would never get that low to the point where I would end up committing suicide. Zeroing my life out. Fading away, if you will. And there have been times where it's like, yeah, there's nothing that could make me change my mind. Why am I here? I'm not really providing anything. You just listen to those dark thoughts a whole lot, and you just start thinking that you're not worth it. There's no value to your life. You have to find value. Because even in my darkest days, the experiences that I've gone through, the things that I've done, the people's lives who I've touched. I mean, granted, I'm not like the Red Cross Society or, a Shriner or whatever. I'm not going out and change the world like that. Believe me, I would love to. I got to work with what I've got. I got to find a way to make my days off work to get to that point. But nonetheless, you have already invested a lot of time into this life. I've invested 38 years into this one vessel. And to just look up one day and say, well, this is it. There's nothing left for me. I'm not doing anything important. That's not a good enough excuse. Like I said in the previous episode, give me something good to die for to make it beautiful to live. I've been to many different places. I've been to Cancun. I've been to Bogota, Colombia. I've been to Amsterdam on multiple occasions. I've been to Japan on multiple occasions. And all of those trips, they added on to the memories that I store in my mind. Just like all the things I've done in my life, whether it's going to range days with Bass Reeves or going to the Niagara National or just going out of my comfort zone and, I don't know, going to a restaurant by myself or doing something by myself, or for perfect example, taking a first aid, adult first, or actually general first aid AED and CPR class, as well as finding a way to take a stop the bleed class in order to try and get myself a little bit more prepared to become a certified firearms instructor. There's things out there that you have to do as a man to keep yourself busy, to find your purpose. Because if you're not finding a purpose, if you're just living, you're not living for yourself. You're living for a fleeting moment. You're a flickering flame waiting to blow out. I guess this is a sneak peek, but as my next episode will be entitled Killing Time, Murderous Opportunities. If you are not being productive, you are killing time and murdering all the opportunities that have a potential to be placed before you. So you got to remind yourself that you are important. There are things out there where your presence is needed. You cannot afford to give up because you're not the only one that's invested. It doesn't matter what society tells you. It doesn't really matter how useless you think you are. As long as you are investing in yourself, you are investing time in others. Even if it's something as simple as pushing that person that you're trying to do better to the next level. Or hell, even if you just make somebody laugh, or even if you have the personality or the charisma to make somebody smile. Even if you're just there as a person, it's a start. It is a starting point. If you're the type of person that has no skill, if you will, no game, whatever you want to call it, as far as going out and interacting with people, find a way to change that. If you're the type of person that likes to stay home all day and not really do anything, find a way to change that. Because these moments, they'll also disappear too. If anything, not utilizing your time is a slow version of suicide. It is a slow version of fading away. It just takes longer for that life bar to get down to zero until you look up. You may be on your deathbed and all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, I've got regrets. There's things I didn't do. I never made it out to Japan. I never made it out to Africa. I never went to Las Vegas. I never went to New York. I mean, there's things out there that will help you build your life up. Thing is, if you're not taking advantage of it, that's the detrimental side of things. And that's when you start looking at your life and you start questioning, did I have any value? Am I leaving anything behind? Is this the positive mark that I'm making on this world? And when you start thinking like that, it starts to consume every single moment of your life to the point where all you have when you wake up is those dark thoughts. And then it makes it real easy for that to happen. I can tell you this right now, with this being the holidays, if you do not like the situation you're in, go get some help. Please, as a man, you owe it to yourself. Because the only person that's living this life is you. And there are people who care about you. But like I said, all the time that you've invested in being in these people's lives is not a waste. Even if you need to reach out and talk with somebody, whether it's a friend, a family member, professional help, whatever, do that. That's a hard decision, but it makes a deeper impact than making an easy decision and not do anything. Keep that in mind, all right? Keep your loved ones close, love yourself, love your family. Cherish those moments, and don't let anything make these things fade away. You are important. You need to remind yourself of that. This life that you have has been given to you because you're the only one that can live it. So live it to the fullest.